In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to change your voice to anyone's voice in real time. If you want to have an online conversation but use a completely different voice, for example in Discord, online classes, WhatsApp, or any other platform, you can do it easily. This tutorial is super simple and suitable for everyone. Let's jump right into it and get started quickly. The first thing you need to do is download the RVC Project software. Just search for RVC Project and click on the first option that comes up. In the Releases section, click here. If you're using an NVIDIA graphics card, download this version. However, if you don't have a graphics card and are using an Intel or AMD CPU, download this version instead. After downloading the software, extract it into a folder. I've already done this, so here are the contents of the software. Next, quickly click on Go Real Time and wait a few moments for the interface to load. Now this is the software's interface. It's very simple. Here, you need to select your model. Then, choose the input audio source for the software. This can be your microphone or any other sound you want to transform. Finally, this section is for the output. The software can send the output to your speakers, or it can direct the processed audio to another application. Here's an important tip. If you want your transformed voice to play on another platform, like Discord or WhatsApp, I'll explain what you need to do later in this video. In fact, this is the golden tip of this tutorial. Now, the software requires two files for each voice model. A.pth file, which is the main file containing the core characteristics of the voice, and index file, which includes detailed information about the reference voice, such as pitch, tone, accent, and how certain words are pronounced. You need to select both files related to the same voice model, one .pth file and one index file. So where can you get these files? You have two options. Train the files yourself. I've already explained how to train a voice model in detail in this post, so feel free to check that out. This works for any voice, whether it's your friends, an artist's, a voice actor's, or a celebrity's. Download pre-trained voice models. You can visit this site and download any voice model you like. For example, if you want to find an Andrew Tate voice model, just search for Tate. As you can see, it brings up a lot of models. The quality of each model may vary, so you'll need to download a few different ones to find the best quality. Pay attention to the ones labeled RVC version 2. You should use these as they offer better quality. The second thing to consider is the number of epochs. Generally, models trained with a higher number of epochs tend to have larger index files and provide better quality. For instance, if I want to download one of these models, I'd choose this one. However, as I explained in my detailed tutorial on professionally training voice models, the most important factor is the quality of the audio used for training. Sometimes, a model trained with just 500 epochs can perform better than one trained with 15,000 epochs, depending on the quality of the training audio. After downloading, you'll find two files in the package. Place the .pth file in the Assets Wait folder. Place the index file in the Logs folder. Once you've placed the files, click here and then select them. The .pth file here and the index file here. Now, let me quickly walk you through the settings, and after that, I'll show you how to convert your default microphone input into the RVC output. For example, if you're playing a game and want to talk to your friends using a transformed voice, you can easily do this. Let's get started with the settings. Response threshold. This determines the sensitivity of your microphone. If it's set too low, it will pick up all the background noise. If it's set too high, it may not pick up the finer details of your voice. This default value works fine in most cases. Pitch settings. This adjusts the pitch of your output voice. If you notice the output voice sounds too deep, for instance, when you're using a female voice model and it sounds unnatural, you should increase the pitch frequency slightly to make it lighter and more realistic. On the other hand, if the output voice sounds too thin or high-pitched, lower the pitch frequency to make it sound deeper and more natural. The next setting is index rate. The higher you set this, the more it will rely on the index file, but be aware that it requires more processing power. If your CPU is weak, set this to 0, but if you have a good or strong CPU, set it between 50 and 70 for optimal performance. This setting controls the voice conversion algorithms. By default, it's set to this option, but you'll need to experiment to see which one works best for your system. Typically, the default setting works fine. If your system is weak, select PM, as it requires less processing power. Sample length refers to the size of the voice sample. The smaller the sample, the less delay there will be between your voice and the output. The larger the sample, the more delay you'll experience. If you have a relatively powerful processor, set this to a value that gives you a reasonable delay, such as 300 milliseconds. This ensures that the delay between your voice and the RVC output isn't too long, keeping it natural and believable. Here you also have the number of simultaneous CPU processes. I have it set to 8, and it works well. We won't touch the other options, but remember, trial and error is key to getting the best sound quality. Once you click Start Audio Conversion, your output voice will play from the speakers. If you want to adjust any of these settings, click Stop, make the changes, and then click Start again. Now, as you can see, my voice delay is 510 milliseconds. If we want to reduce it, we need to tweak these settings a bit and experiment. Depending on your system's power, you'll get a specific delay. Typically, a 600 to 700 millisecond delay is considered normal. Through trial and error on my system, these numbers worked well for me, but you should adjust them based on your own setup. Now, the most important part. How do we set RVC as the output voice? Simply search for Virtual Sound Driver. Click on VB Audio Virtual Apps, go to their website, and download the VB Audio Virtual Driver. After you've installed it, go to your sound settings. In the recording section, you'll see a new option called Cable Output. Enable it. At this point, there will be no change, but we need to set it as the default. After that, in the Output section, select Cable Input and choose VB Audio Virtual Cable. As soon as you click on Start Audio Conversion, your microphone's original sound will be converted to the output voice from RVC. How can you check? I'll go back to Sound Settings, and in the Recording section, you can see that with a slight delay, it shows. Now, 99% of the time, your output sound will be the RVC-generated sound. But there's a 1% chance that some software may recognize your original microphone as the output sound. But if this happens, you need to go into the default sound settings of that software. For example, look here. I've set the default input to microphone. But if you want the output sound to be from RVC, set the default recording device or default microphone to RVC. Most of the time, you won't need to do this, but if that 1% chance occurs, just follow these steps. Once you're done and want to return your sound settings to normal, simply go back to the sound settings, click on Recording, and set your main microphone as the default again. I'll do it here. 1, 2, 3, testing. Okay, all set. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to follow our page. We teach everything in the best possible way. We've also posted 2 more tutorials on voice transformation.